What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Milwaukee Sports Performance Podcast. My name is Dr. Michael Falk, and I'm joined today by Dr. Hannah Greving, the physical therapist and lacrosse expert at Kinetic Sports Medicine and Performance. She's been on the podcast previously, but we're going to do something fun here. So if you are listening on your car, we're going to do our best to walk through this, but we're actually recording this live in person. It's more of a clinical episode, something that we're going to try to do more of once a week or so and really dive into something in the clinic, in the office, a specific movement compensation, specific movement patterns. So today, Dr. Hannah is going to teach all of us a little bit about lacrosse and specifically the split dodge and some common movement compensations and pain conditions that she sees and ways that we can work through this and try to help athletes both perform better and move better going forward. So Hannah, what are we gonna learn today? Thanks for taking the time and coming on.
Thanks for letting me be here. Today we're going to talk about the split dodge, so commonly used for attackers that play lacrosse or defenders trying to get up the field, get around their opponent is the main goal. Very similar to soccer skills, basketball skills, but we're having the lacrosse spin on it. So again, used a lot throughout the game in general. So I'll just start by walking through the basics of what we're looking for in the split dodge. You'll be my defender, and we'll go from there. So again,
don't make me look too bad with my old man athleticism.
Yes, so he'll be the dummy defender that I'm dodging against. The main thing that we want to have done first is that my stick is up and behind my body, right? I don't want to have my stick out to the side where it can be checked. I want it to be protected in this triple threat position. Again, my arms are up and back. As I'm coming towards the defender, that's when I'm starting my kind of like foot fire. So I want to make sure that this is super quick and fast. Again, trying to get the defender off of kind of the path, and I can try to then go around them and beat them that way. So again, hands are up and back. I'm doing the stutter step. Then we get into this first plant. Again, I'm trying to get Dr. Falk to go this way, and then trying to go around him towards the other way. So planting with the right foot here. We want this to be nice and strong, so I have a good base to push off of as I switch my hands and end up going towards the left side. Again, I want to try to then seal around him afterwards to really make sure that he's behind me and not trying to get in front of me later on.
Yeah, awesome. So that's probably a really common move. I mean, lacrosse specific, but we're going to see probably similar knee positions in a wide receiver that's trying to run a post route, or a soccer player that's trying to move around defenders as well. So probably lots of commonalities across sports.
Yep.
Well, that's great. So let's talk about what are some common faults if you're working with a player, whether it just be lack of skill or maybe someone that's dealing with pain, but what are some movement compensations or inefficient patterns that you see when someone's trying to do this dodge?
Yep, definitely a lot of people seem to ignore the foot fire. They just pass right through that, but that's super important, trying to get the defender to not know where I'm going. So a lot of girls that I coach, we're telling them to have this foot fire here. A lot of them just ignore this position. So we want to be able to be quick and fast with our feet, especially as we're coming towards them. A second one that we commonly see is that a lot of the girls do not really sell this first step towards the opposite side, and they're not super stiff and powerful through that first step, which is then sets them up for the rest of the dodge. So that's another common one that we see. Lastly is being able to protect their stick as they come across. So if I'm stepping with my right foot, I really want to make sure I'm protecting, keeping it close to me, and really getting this rotation through my trunk and spine to protect that stick from any defender that's coming by.
Yeah, really interesting. Okay, let's move. You're a lacrosse expert and coach that too, but in your role as a PT now. So let's say someone's coming back from injury, maybe it's a knee injury, lower body, something like that. Doing these dodging, change of direction type movements are some of the hardest things to do, some of the kind of more nerve-wracking things for the first time. So what might be somebody that's been out of sport for a while, some prerequisites, some things that you'd like them to be able to do and show competency in before you'd let them do the dodge? And then eventually, what are the early steps of actually walking through that dodge the first time?
Yep, so definitely we want to make sure that we have that like lateral single leg control, just with the amount that we're pushing off of that one side. That's very important. So for example, like a lateral bound side to side, making sure that we're staying nice and low, but being explosive within that as well. That can also be a really good prerequisite for any dodging, any footwork that we see commonly in lacrosse too. Another thing that we want to see is being able to have that quick first step out of the dodge. So again, as I have my foot fire, I want this nice, good plant. I really then want to explode forward and have that forward first step. Sometimes that can be a little delayed after injury, after surgery, of just having that quick explosiveness. Those are two common ones that are commonly seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's something that historically we've seen in the clinic with maybe athletes that have struggled during the rehab process, we'd say have an incomplete rehab, and they've done a lot of low speed stuff in kind of a traditional physical therapy setting. Maybe they can do a single leg squat, they can do a lunge and things like that. But this is high speed, high forces, probably 3-4 times body weight or more in that hard plant. And it has to happen right now. And if you haven't done jumping and landing and things like that, that lateral bound that you're showing, now that split dodge gets much harder. Awesome. So as someone's getting reintegrated, they haven't been doing the lacrosse moves for a while, what's the process to actually have someone like learn this move the first time and introduce it to them in a sort of safe way where they can really work on the technique and get better at it?
Yeah, definitely say don't be afraid to take it slow at first. Again, especially like post-surgically, maybe this is how tore your ACL, or it's a certain move that I know like after I tore mine, I knew it was always that like plant with the left foot having to come back around. I practiced that a ton of times knowing that it would be a little bit more challenging for me afterwards. So I think don't be afraid to really break it down like we did. Don't be afraid to start super slow. And then as you feel more confident with it after each and every time, really making sure that we're getting like those quick explosive moves, trying to get back to that return to sport that we had previously. So don't be afraid to take it slow, one step at a time. But then as you really feel more confident as an athlete and as like the PT, you should hopefully see those like confidence builders in you as you continue, and then getting into that really explosive kind of return to play.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that we use a lot with athletes. We talk about like controlling the environment, and I talk about it a lot as like the degrees of freedom, where you going against me, where you're having to like read and react, that adds this unknown element versus maybe starting by just practicing against a cone, like going around a cone, right? The cone's not gonna move. The cone's not gonna bump you off bounds, anything like that. So even just starting in a practice environment that's a little less chaotic, more of a drill-oriented thing versus full field scrimmage or something. We even talk about it in lacrosse better than I do. Typically bigger spaces, higher speeds, higher forces, maybe even starting in a small condensed space, like small-sided kind of games or little squares versus full field game action, run as fast as you can, try to get around this person.
Yeah, definitely. That's super important. Again, starting super small and then slowly building up is really important.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate all of your expertise and your insights to teach me something about lacrosse and hopefully walk people through this. If you're a lacrosse player, hopefully you got a lot out of this. If you're another team sport athlete, again, these concepts that we talked about in lacrosse today, they're going to apply into so many different sports. Change of direction is almost universally in a field and court sport a skill that's really important. So hopefully you're able to take something out of that, and appreciate the time. Thanks to everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.